Peace and love, gamers and players. I am Colorwind, and this is Colorwind Plays Crash Bandicoot Warped for the original Sony PlayStation as part of Crash Week. Developed by Naughty Dog, published by Sony Computer Entertainment, and distributed by Universal Interactive Studios, this game was released only 1 year after the second Crash game on October 31st, 1998, Halloween. We're going to skip all the cutscenes, we're going to skip all the introductions, all that, because this is the third game in the series, and quite frankly, everything is more or less the same from now on. At this point, it's just, you're back for more of the same gameplay. As far as the story goes, you're once again going against Dr. Neo Cortex, which is the bad guy, although now he has the mask Uka Uka, or Aku Aku, who is the brother of the mask that usually helps you in these games, Uka Uka, and together they're trying to take over the world. And although they failed in the present time, they are now going to try to do this by going back in time. So there is a time traveling aspect to this game. There is a hub world, as you can see, but now you just press on different buttons to be able to get to your different levels. So let's do that. Let's jump into one, and I'll show you how the game now plays, which, to be honest, is not that different from before. Skipping cutscene, and here we go. This is the first level of the game. Once again, you are Crash Bandicoot, and you are running around, destroying boxes, and taking out enemies with your spin attack. You also still have your ability to crouch, double high jump, body slam, as well as sliding. So what's different in this game? Well, not a whole lot, to be honest. A lot of things that were introduced in Crash Bandicoot 2 remain here and remain untouched. 3 masks will get you invisibility, otherwise they'll take 1 or 2 hits depending on how many you have. And in the meantime, you're taking out boxes in order to acquire gems, which are the 6 somewhat hidden pickups from this game as from the other games as well. The one difference with the boxes to sort of help you out is, as you can see when you put down your heads-up display, they tell you how many boxes are in the level now. And that's helpful. They also do that when you go into a bonus round, which I will show you right now, as we're going to it. Here we are, the bonus round. It now says down on the bottom, 0 out of 7. So you now know that there are 7 boxes in the bonus round. Essentially, the game has just taken out any guesswork whatsoever and is now just telling you. Certain small tweaks, like for example on the boxes that you have to jump on repeatedly to be able to get all the food from, now they come out in groups of 2 rather than just 1 at a time. Just a little tweaks like that just to sort of overall make the game a lot simpler, or rather quicker. However, there are a few things to this game that sort of disappoint me, but at this point it's sort of a judgment call. I mentioned in the previous video that the second Crash Bandicoot game is my favorite, which would probably mean that I probably have some sort of problem with this one. And that would be sort of correct. The problem with this game is sort of, it needs explanation. As you can see, we're now going back in time, so we have like this medieval setting instead of like, say, the swamps and jungles and ice mountains and everything from the previous games that were just sort of the same generic things that we were always getting. Because of the time travel aspect, this game's level design is superior to that of the second game. It is better. I am telling you that it is better. However, the layout, not the design, but the layout of each of these levels, I feel is a little more cramped, and it's a little less creative. I get a lot of deja vu from playing these levels. And that's a problem for me, even though the places are actually quite different. Like, as you can see, there are levels like this where I'm running through prehistoric times. There's levels like this one where I'll be underwater, and there's ones like these where I'll actually be playing as Coco, my sister. Coco Bandicoot is a playable character in this game. There she is. You'd think that would make it better, but it's not. See, here's an example. Okay, in a way to differentiate gameplay. You're no longer just platforming. Now you have levels like this where you're swimming. And you also have levels where you'll be riding a jet ski. And you also have levels where you'll be riding a tiger. Now, some of these concepts come from the second game. However, here they're done a lot more prominently. And I think that's to his detriment, because Crash Bandicoot's strength has always been the platforming. It was a good platformer, especially in the second game where the controls got really tight. And now they're throwing out these other ways of playing the game, and although they're fun, they stick around a bit too often. For example, here, this is the first hub world. Okay, the first 5 levels. Okay. In this first 5 levels, there's only 2 levels that I'm actually running around and jumping. The other ones are this level that I'm playing right now, swimming, and then the other 2 are riding levels. There's one with a jet ski and then one with a tiger, which are similar to the polar bear levels from the second game. That is what bothers me. Now there's more than just the platforming, and the platforming was Crash Bandicoot's strength. Right? Imagine a Mario game where instead of having a whole bunch of levels where you're doing platforming, a good chunk of them, probably half, was just like solely you riding the ocean, or solely you going underwater. Just that was all. Those are good types of levels to break up the monotony of the platforming for some time. That's not something you do as a main proponent of the game. That is what my problem is with this game. They went too far with their distractions and essentially made it a full part of the game. For example, what I'm doing here. I'm writing this thing, but it goes on its own, so I constantly have to go back and forth and everything like that. And it's not bad. And something I should mention is that because of that stuff like this that I'm talking about and complaining about does not make Crash Bandicoot Warped a bad game. Not at all. It just makes it a weaker game than the second one. Now, there's also one more thing that I will say I just do not like at all. And that is the introduction of the time trials, which I will get to in a minute as soon as I get through this level. I don't know why I'm trying to get through this level. I'm just trying to show this off to you. It's just habit, I guess. But the concept of the time trial is that you complete the level as fast as you can. Pretty simple. You've seen it in a lot of games. Crash isn't really a fast character. He never has been. He is not Sonic. Let's put it like that. He is not Sonic the Hedgehog. So I don't know why they did this. I mean, it can be done. Obviously, the way that they designed it, the time trials can be done. It's just not really enjoyable, and especially since Crash Bandicoot is not really that fast, you don't feel like you're going fast to begin with. And that's a problem. Again, I don't know why they did that. I don't know why that is an objective in this game. And what's more is that there's 3 of them. There are 3 different time trials you have to go through to be able to complete this game 100%. There's the Sapphire Relics, the Gold Relics, and the Platinum Relics. And the way that you get these relics is once you jump into a level you've already been into, then you'll be able to collect a clock that'll show up at the beginning of the level. Collect that clock and the timer will immediately start going. You can see it right there. It's gold. I pick it up, and here we go. We're now in time trial mode. Using this, you're going to want to use a slide. It'll make you go faster. Help things out. Don't worry about boxes. You don't have to worry about collecting gems. You do want to try to get these time boxes here, like with the number 2, because that'll stop the clock for 2 seconds. That's going to help you out. I would also suggest still getting the masks, as sometimes you'll just need to have to run through to get a hit. You know, just be like, okay, just keep going, I'll take the hit, go, go, go. So, other than that, that's all you're doing. You're just running through, trying to go through just as fast as you can. Later on in the game, that's the other thing that's an addition, you will gain new abilities. And by new abilities, what I'm talking about is the boss battles actually have something really good for you to get, instead of just going through them in order to get to the next part of the game. What you'll be doing now is, once you finish a boss fight, they will leave behind an ability for you to do. This includes a double jump, this includes a fruit bazooka, it includes a super spin that allows you to glide from jumping, and it also includes running shoes, which will help you in the time trials. Let's put in my middle name. And those abilities are fine, and as a matter of fact, until you get the running shoes, I would recommend not even trying the time trials until then, because it just makes life quicker, since, as you can see, I still have to get the gold relic, so I would have to go back in and do the gold relic, and when you have the running shoes, you can just try and get the platinum one right away. That's what you would try to do. But for the purposes of this, let's try a level with Coco. So you'll go through, miss, and then Coco will run from in the middle of the hub world and jump in instead of you. You see, I am now Coco. It is very rare for you to be Coco on a stage that's not some sort of extra activity, such as water skiing or riding a tiger or something like that. It just doesn't happen. I'm not even going to try to get on the box and stuff. As you can see, so there is stuff like this, and it is fun. It's just not... Eventually, it outstays its welcome. That is the problem with this. I came to play Crash Bandicoot to play a platformer, and this game does not seem to really want to give me that. And that's unfortunate. What they have in its place is not bad. Don't get me wrong. It's just not its strongest suit. That's the thing. That's the other thing too. Like, for example, I'm controlling this bike. This bike feels a little loose. Right? This bike feels a little loose. You know, when I'm controlling the tiger, the controls feel a little stiff. When I'm underwater as Crash, going through the water levels, it feels a little sluggish, as most characters do in water levels, which is why people usually don't like water levels in video games, because they still haven't really nailed that. And that's just the nature of the different types of things. They didn't focus on that, and as such, it's not as strong. And that's unfortunate. And what makes it even more unfortunate is that they decided to try to focus on that. So, this is Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped. It's a good game. Do not get me wrong. I know I kind of harp on the level layouts and the fact that you're playing all these different types of gameplay mechanics, but it is still a very fun game, and I would recommend it. But the thing is, though, is that because of its misgivings, I would say start with Crash Bandicoot 2 first, because it's more like what Crash Bandicoot is, and it is just a stronger game overall. Even if one thing this game has over it is the level variety. There's different aesthetics, different locales, and it is superior in that way. This has been Colorwind Plays Crash Bandicoot 3 for the original PlayStation. Crash Bandicoot Warped, actually. You know, that's the other thing, too. In some territories, it was called Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped. In some areas, like where I'm from, in America, there's just Crash Bandicoot Warped. So, make of that what you will. This has been Colorwind Plays Crash Bandicoot Warped on the original PlayStation. And I'll catch you next time.